Yes, people, welcome back to Canary Cast. Good to see you back here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, especially if you're new around here and you like what you're hearing and seeing. Right, let's get straight into it. We're talking about Max Aarons today. A, can Norwich keep him this summer? B, there's fresh interest from West Ham, along with seemingly all of Europe seem to be interested in him. There's a long list of clubs he's been touted with now. We will get onto all of that, and then we will discuss what sort of player he is, if indeed he does move. Jacob, are we going to keep Max Aarons, mate? Is it going to happen?
Simple answer, no.
Yeah.
There's far too much interest, isn't there, mate? Obviously, Roma were interested in January, which we found out. Liked Barcelona last summer. And, yeah, West Ham, Everton, Man U, probably Arsenal, you could say, if they lose Bellerin. You could list them off. I think he's a guy who himself now sees himself as ready to take that next step. We've seen from the likes of Stuart Webber, Stuart Weaver, all say that, yeah, it's probably time. Even Delia herself was like, we know that he's going to take that next step, and that's not with Norwich. I think he's ready. I think he's done his part in terms of getting us promoted, which he's been superb in, which we'll go on to later about his strengths and maybe some weaknesses. But no, he's a fantastic lad, and I hope for his sake that he just goes to the very top, because that's all we can see, really, isn't it? Projecting, really.
Yeah, absolutely. This fresh interest from West Ham has been reported by Nick Mashiter, who does have a link with Norwich, and he said that Max was told he could leave last season, and I think we were quite surprised he didn't go last season, weren't we? But just hats off to Max for just being thoroughly professional throughout all these transfer rumours he's been linked with. He's smashed it this season again, hasn't he? He just takes everything in his stride.
It's amazing. He's only 21. He's played 127 games for Norwich in 3 seasons. Like, the consistency of the lad is remarkable. You can probably count on one hand the amount of mistakes he's probably made. I think it took him a little bit of time to grow into the Premier League last year, but as soon as he did, especially that second half of the season, he just looked like a full, proper right back, didn't he, at that level? Yeah. And whilst maybe an England cap's a big step because there's so many in front of him or just that kind of class of pedigree in that one position, he's a player that really should be. I think the next step will be an Everton, West Ham, that kind of club, which is on the periphery of kind of those elite clubs. Still both very big clubs, and would be great move for him either way. And then we'll go on to a super club. I can only see that his career just continuing that trajectory.
Let's talk about this fresh West Ham interest then, Jake, because West Ham, you think they're having a brilliant season. They've done brilliantly this season. Currently sitting in 4th, I believe. Part of me thinks that they're trying to make the most of their sort of high stock at the minute, because West Ham in other seasons would have felt like a bit of a sideways move. What do you make of it?
It's London as well. I think that's a big prospect. I think he's found in and around there as well, which, London's a big kind of prospect for a young lad to go there and enjoy himself. It's just a lot more of a vibrant city, a little old Norwich, isn't it? But no, West Ham have done well. Like, David Moyes is defensively a really good coach, isn't he? Like, he did really well with Everton, and what he's done this year has been incredible with West Ham. Kind of capitalised on other clubs not doing as well. He'll promote the youth. They'll be happy to kind of look at him and go, yeah, this is an opportunity for him to really go there and kind of show what he's got. I know they've got Soufal there at the moment, who's good, but probably
he's had a good season.
He can be upgraded as well, though. Probably a rotation player. I'd say he's better than Ryan Fredericks defensively, who's very much going forward based. I think it'll take him time at West Ham to kind of build into that philosophy, because it is different to Norwich. But once he's in that team, or once he gets his chance, like Ben Godfrey's done at Everton, I see him only flourishing.
Yeah, I would imagine that David Moyes would put a lot more emphasis on Max's defensive side of his game, as opposed to Daniel Farke, who's very much developed the attacking side of his game and defensively. I'm not trying to sell Daniel Farke short, but you would imagine Moyes will want more from him defensively.
Be quite interesting if they play 5 at the back on a regular occasion as well. So wing back, he's more than capable of doing. Yeah. He's got a great engine, hasn't he? He can get up and down that pitch comfortably. He's good at putting the balls in. We go quite low usually, so it'll be interesting to see with an Antonio type figure. Obviously Souček as well. West Ham do like to get the ball into the box a bit more than Norwich, probably aerially. That's probably one part of his game he can improve, but that's not too much of a problem. Sometimes we like to kind of back him to go and back himself a bit more, attack the fullback, which he does at times, but there's sometimes where with our play he cuts back. I think a manager that goes, right, get to the byline, whip that ball in, I think that could only improve his game. He's strong on both sides of the feet, really, isn't he? There's no real weakness there. The only problem is with him is teams will try and target him because of his lack of height. He's 5'7", 5'8" at max. No pun intended there. He's one of those players which has learnt that side of his game. Obviously, he's played 2 championship seasons where, let's be fair, most clubs have a big man and try and target those with long throws. And he's never really been caught out of that kind of aerial battle. He's done well there. So I think alongside some good defenders back at West Ham, Bonner, Dawson, all of those kind of lads who are experienced, they can only help him and improve him.
Yeah, should have mentioned this at the top of the video. It's actually Aarons, not Aarons, which was weird. It was Max Aarons for 2.5 seasons, and then he came out and said it was Max Aarons. So it's Max Aarons. Forgive me. So Jacob, put yourself in his shoes. West Ham have, we believe there's a bid on the table. Would you go there? Because for my money, it feels like Max has got the world at his feet, and there's a lot bigger clubs that he's been linked with, and you would back him to go there and get himself in the team somehow. So. Would you be looking at West Ham as a real option this summer if you were him?
I think West Ham and Everton are two perfect clubs for him right now. They're big clubs, aren't they? And an upgrade on what Norwich is currently. I think it also gives him that kind of opportunity to go there without too much spotlight. Exactly what Ben Godfrey's done. A lot more interest in Max Aarons than there is Ben Godfrey, isn't there? Or was in Ben Godfrey? And now people are coming out and saying, Ben Godfrey, of course he's good. We always saw that. With Max, there will probably be a little bit more pressure on him because he has been probably highlighted a little bit more than Ben was. This is the perfect kind of move for him to go into without the spotlight, more consistent Premier League football at a good level. He'll win a lot more games than obviously, unfortunately, with Norwich he would do. I think it kind of puts him on that pedestal, probably just outside the England kind of call-ups. He's obviously in the under-21s very regularly at the moment. He is only 21 still, so he'll still be there for the next year or so. I think it just gives him that perfect time to get into a big club, well supported, big stadiums as well, good coaches, both of them. I would say, I think Carlo Ancelotti is with the accolades he's won, I'd probably prefer him to go with and kind of replace Coleman long term, whereas instead of battling with Soufal. But I can see David Moyes definitely improving his game. Like again with Seamus Coleman, David Moyes brought him from Ireland and kind of produced one of the best fullbacks we've seen in Premier League kind of in the last 10 years. So I would definitely rate David Moyes as well defensively to improve him. But I think either one would be a great option rather than going to a monumental club right now and being backup. I think he needs to continue playing games, which is what he'll want to do as well, isn't he? Like we said at the top, 127 games in 3 years. This lad's used to playing. He won't want to be on the bench.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of fans of different clubs watching this. We've mentioned most of them, and we've alluded to what sort of player Max is a bit. But let's do that properly now. If Max does indeed move, what sort of player are ex-club getting?
Just a really consistent player. And we've said this a few times because we've made a couple of videos on him. It doesn't matter who he's playing. I remember watching him in Stevenage, his first ever game in the Cup. He's playing left back that day. And from then to when he plays the likes of Liverpool, I've seen him play them. And his game is no different. He doesn't treat anyone differently. He does his job unspectacularly at times. But I think when he does go, we'll recognise just how incredible he was for an 18-year-old up to 21 as he is now. To play 3 seasons, missing a handful of games at most, is incredible. The consistency he's played with is just been absolutely superb. And he can attack. He's very quick. He's built out well since he was kind of 18, hasn't he? The slight figure was probably an issue to begin with, but he's definitely grown out on that. Height, yes, he's not the tallest, but to be fair, again, like I was saying, his body position has improved a lot. And this year, he's by far the best right back in the league. I think he's created the second most amount of chances in the Championship behind Emi Buendia, who I'm sure will
right-hand side.
He's rubbish. Just don't worry about him, fans. But he's to be a right back and have the second most created chances in the league shows how good Max Aarons is, and he is going to be a very, very good player. If you get him, he's Premier League postage stamp ready, and I think people maybe will look at Jamal Lewis and say, oh God, maybe we'll get him again, who's been inconsistent. Max is better. He's a lot more all-rounded, better player. Jamal's probably a little bit more athletic naturally, but Max is by far the better footballer in my opinion.
You mentioned earlier in the pod that he makes very few mistakes and that you could count them on one hand. You honestly can. I think it was Forest in the Championship season when we last went up. He backed off I think it was Deulofeu against Watford in the Prem. You just think you should have done better there, Max. But honestly, it's like 2 or 3 things that we can think of in 3 seasons. It is ridiculous. He is so consistent. But yeah, that is our roundup on Max Aarons. We'll see what happens to him this summer. There seems to be plenty of interest. He seems to be told he can go. If it means us keeping Emi Buendia, then perhaps we can live with it. But
what would you say, very quickly, the price will be?
I think it's going to have to be 30, like base price 30 million, because you've Godfrey 2025 and Jamal Lewis, he went for a lot less, but Max is, it's going to have to be 30 for my money, Jacob.
It's a hell of a lot of money, which a lot of, I'm sure the comments will be thinking, wow, this is, a lot of money for a lad who only had one season in the Premier League, but trust us, this guy he's ready. He will be a very sound investment. And if a West Ham or an Everton buy him 30 million, you'll make more on him in a couple of years. All injuries, hoping, fingers crossed, he stays absolutely fine. He will definitely continue to improve and then be, well, it could be 40, 50 million, like Wan-Bissaka was with Palace and going to Man U. I see him definitely getting to that level to be able to go to those elite clubs. So whilst it's a big amount of money now, he's probably the the crown in the jewel of the kind of the academy players that have come through, and we will be expecting big money because he's the best that has come through, and he's better than what Ben Godfrey was when he's left, and he's been very, very good at Everton. So expect even higher things for Max, I would say.
Okay, we've covered everything. Let's leave it there. That is your update on Max Aarons. Let's see what happens this summer. There may even be more videos like this. We do not know. But if you could give the video a like, that would be great. Leave us a comment. Let us know whether you think we'll keep Max Aarons, or if you're a fan of another club, let us know if you would like Max Aarons in your team and where you see him fitting in. That would be brilliant. But until next time, take care and we'll see you soon. Cheers.